Welcome to the Microfinance podcast. Listen to inspiring interviews and take a look at the tools and products that are used in the field. The Microfinance podcast is produced by Microsafe, market-led solutions for financial services, and is brought to you by Moving Planet Films.
Hello, my name is Oksana Holtman. I'm here to present the first episode of the Microfinance podcast. But first, let me introduce Microsafe. Microsafe is a unique project that promotes the development of savings and other more client-responsive financial services among microfinance institutions. Microsafe is at the forefront of efforts to move microfinance from a product-driven to a market-led basis. The vision of Microsafe is a world in which all people have access to high-quality, affordable, market-led financial services. While creating several training videos, Microsafe, together with Moving Planet Films, decided that it would be a great idea to share those stories and interviews with the wider microfinance community and with anybody who is interested in the topic. Recently, microfinance got a lot of global attention and recognition when Professor Muhammad Yunus and Grameen Bank won the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize. Today, our guest speaker, Syed Hashemi, will share with us his thoughts on why microfinance is such a great success in Bangladesh and what is the role that Grameen Bank played in establishing microfinance as an industry. Syed Hashemi is a former staff member of Grameen Bank. Now he is a senior microfinance specialist of CGAP, the consultative group to assist the poor.
Microfinance has been really successful in Bangladesh for a whole variety of reasons. We're a very small country, it's densely populated, and for most developing people, that's a real big problem because you've got, 50, 60 million people in a state the size of Wisconsin, really flat terrain, delta, we get flooded all the time. But what microfinance has been able to do is use that to its advantage. Because it's densely populated, transactions costs are really low. People don't even use motorbikes. At best, they use bicycles to get around. Most of the times, they actually walk. And because it's so densely populated, you can form groups easily. It's the same very homogeneous ethnic background, so people get along better, they know each other. And the fact that we have had very little interference from the state, primarily because the state has been so ineffective that they hadn't really ventured out to try to regulate this business. So it's all those reasons, plus actually one of the biggest reasons may very well be the charismatic leaders like Yunus or Fazle Abed of BRAC, who right after the War of Liberation, when we became independent, they were inspired to do something radically different for the poor. So it's all of those factors, subjective factors like great leaders and objective factors like the living conditions there and the density of population and homogeneous ethnic backgrounds. I think that's what contributed to it. Grameen Bank was one of the pioneers, and Muhammad Yunus has been the successful communicator for the industry. He's been able to talk to world leaders and policymakers and activists and energize a generation of people who got interested then into microfinance. So his contribution, of course, is extremely big in that. But I just wanted to add, it wasn't Grameen alone or Yunus alone who did that. The biggest contribution that Muhammad Yunus made was get people to recognize that poor people are bankable. Conventional wisdom back in those days was banks don't lend to poor people. And Yunus tried to turn that wisdom on its head, saying banks can lead to poor people very effectively, can get all their money back, and not just poor people, poor women. Because in Grameen Bank, the overwhelming majority, I think the 96, 7, 8% of their clients are women. For hundreds of years, women have either been someone's wife, someone's daughter, or someone's mother. What Grameen did was create an avenue for women to express themselves as something other than a kinship category, as someone of her own. That kind of societal transformation, making women visible, confident, and assertive. And of course, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long, drawn-out process. But for me, far more important than providing that loan or that saving services, which allows her to increase incomes and better mitigate risk, far more than those economic achievements, what Grameen has done is bringing out social transformations. To me, that is the most important contribution of Grameen Bank and Yunus, and BRAC and others too. Muhammad Yunus started, what he would always say was, conventional wisdom is wrong, because conventional wisdom is where it's got us to, which is high inequality, inequitable distribution of resources, and women as a subordinate category. So when he looked at the financial sector, he said, I need to turn conventional financial wisdom on its head. So he lent to poor people, he lent to women, where in conventional banking, people would go to the banks. He took the banks to the people. So he would go to the villages and do financial transactions there. So those were some of the achievements of Grameen, and this was how Yunus essentially successfully transformed what then was conventional wisdom. We recognize now that microfinance has become an integrated part of the financial sector, and all those challenging ideas of 3 decades ago are now the new conventional wisdom.
Thank you for staying with us for our first microfinance podcast. In our next episode, we are going to learn about another big microfinance program in Bangladesh, namely BRAC. BRAC is an amazing example how one combines microfinance with other development efforts. Please subscribe to the Microfinance podcast. It's free. I also invite you to check the MicroSafe website at www.microsafe.org. There you will find numerous documents, toolkits, and briefing notes. I'm Oksana Holtman. Stay tuned.